What if the greatest love story you ever heard was a lie? What if a passionate, 20-year romance, filled with whispered secrets and promises of a future together, was actually one of the most audacious espionage operations in history? This is the story of a French diplomat who gave everything for the woman he loved. But the biggest twist? She wasn't even a woman! The year is 1964. The world is a chessboard, and the Cold War is in full swing. Superpowers like the United States and the Soviet Union are locked in a tense standoff, and every nation is forced to pick a side. In this shadowy world of secrets and suspicion, intelligence agencies like the CIA, the KGB, and France's own SDECE are the real players, constantly seeking an edge, a weakness, a secret that could tip the balance of power. And for a young French diplomat named Bernard Berset, his post in Beijing, China, was about to plunge him into the very heart of this dangerous game. Bernard was just 20 years old, working as an accountant at the French embassy. He was lonely, a bit naive, and fascinated by the exotic culture of China, especially the traditional Beijing opera. It was at a diplomatic party that he first saw her, Xi Peipu, a captivating opera singer, elegant and mysterious. Bernard was instantly smitten. He described their first meeting as love at first sight. He found Xi enchanting, a delicate flower in the harsh political landscape of Mao's China. They began to meet in secret. Their conversations were a mix of French and halting Mandarin, filled with poetry and shared dreams. She told Bernard stories of a life filled with hardship, of being forced to live as a man to please a father who wanted a son. Now, she explained, she was finally able to live as the woman she always was. Bernard, completely enchanted, believed every word. Their connection deepened into a passionate love affair, a forbidden romance in a city where eyes and ears were everywhere. For Bernard, this was it. He had found his soulmate. He was ready to risk everything for her. But he had no idea that, for Xi Peipu, the performance had only just begun. Soon after their affair began, Xi Peipu delivered shocking news. She was pregnant. Bernard was overjoyed. A child, a symbol of their love, a reason to build a life together. She disappeared for a time, later returning with a baby boy she named Shidudu, telling Bernard he was their son. For Bernard, this sealed their bond forever. He now had a family to protect. This was the moment the trap sprung shut. One evening, a man from the Chinese Secret Service, known only as Kang, approached Bernard. The threat was clear and terrifying. They knew about his secret affair with Xi Peipu. They knew about their son. In the oppressive climate of 1960s China, such a relationship could mean prison, or worse, for both of them. But Kang offered a way out. All Bernard had to do was provide some information. Just small documents from the French embassy. Nothing too important, he was assured. Just enough to prove his cooperation. Trapped between his love for Xi Peipu, his duty to his son, and the fear of exposure, Bernard made a fateful choice. He agreed. For the next 2 decades, this became Bernard's life. As his diplomatic career took him from Beijing to other posts around the world, he became a conduit for classified information. He smuggled over 150 sensitive French government documents to his Chinese handlers. Every document passed was an act of love, a sacrifice to protect his family. He would meet his contacts in dimly lit hotel rooms and shadowy alleyways, driven by the belief that he was safeguarding the woman and child he cherished. Xi Peipu would write him passionate letters, keeping the flame of their romance alive across continents, constantly reminding him of what was at stake. He was a spy, not for ideology or money, but for love. Or so he thought. But the truth was far more complex and far more shocking than he could ever imagine. By the early 1980s, Bernard Berset managed to bring Xi Peipu and their son, Shidudu, to Paris. He believed they could finally live as a family, but the past has a way of catching up. In 1983, French counterintelligence, the DST, arrested them both. The international press was captivated. A French diplomat and his Chinese lover caught in a Cold War spy ring. But during the investigation, the story took a turn that no one saw coming. Medical examiners were brought in to examine Xi Peipu. The results were dumbfounding. Xi Peipu was biologically a man. He had maintained the deception for 20 years, not only fooling his lover but also the French intelligence services. When confronted with the evidence, Bernard Berset was in utter disbelief. He insisted she was a woman. He had been with her intimately. They had a child. It was impossible. He explained that she was incredibly modest, and their physical encounters were always quick and in the dark. Shipepu himself finally confessed, demonstrating to the court how he had hidden his anatomy to successfully masquerade as a woman for 2 decades. The revelation was a bombshell. The trial became a global spectacle. How could a man be deceived so completely for so long? The world's media descended on Paris, turning the courtroom into a theater of the absurd. The story of their son also unraveled. Shidudu was not their child. He was an orphan from China's Xinjiang province, purchased by Shipepu to solidify the deception. The entire foundation of Bruno's life, his love, his family, his sacrifice, was built on an elaborate, meticulously crafted lie. When the judge asked him how he could not have known Shipepu was a man, a broken Barnard simply replied, "He had me." Both were found guilty of espionage and sentenced to 6 years in prison. The affair became a national embarrassment for France. It was a story of incredible personal delusion and a catastrophic failure of intelligence. In the world of espionage, the most effective weapons are not guns or gadgets, but human emotions. Deception, manipulation, and the deep-seated need for connection can be exploited in ways that are far more devastating than any physical force. The story of Bernard Boursiquot and Shipepu is a chilling reminder of this truth. It shows us how love, or the illusion of it, can make us blind. Bernard was pardoned after less than a year in prison, but his life was shattered. Shipepu was also pardoned and remained in Paris, becoming a minor celebrity, even performing in plays. They never saw each other again. In the end, this wasn't just a story about spies and secrets. It was a story about human vulnerability, about our desperate desire to believe in something, even when all evidence points to a lie. It's a testament to the fact that in the shadowy world of intelligence, the heart is often the first and most tragic casualty. Love isn't always what it seems. If you love stories where the truth is stranger and often more heartbreaking than fiction, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell.